Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and today I wanted to just go through a list of some things that I use from home to do tattooing on fake skin. So before we jump in, I just wanted to make a quick disclaimer that I am a self-taught artist. I am not currently under an apprenticeship of any kind. I just tattoo from home with my own money and using my own equipment. So please take what I say with a grain of salt, as I may not know everything perfectly, but this is just personally what I use to tattoo fake skin from home. I just want to preface that tattooing is not a cheap hobby, so please bear in mind that if it's something that you're wanting to get into, it may cost you a fair amount of money. Now, I understand that there are lots of kits out there on Amazon that only cost between $50 to $100. I would not recommend those for starting off, so please bear in mind it can cost a bit when getting into tattooing. So the first thing you are going to need obviously is a tattoo machine. This is the one that I currently use. It's called the Ease Tattoo P2S machine. It's a wireless rotary machine that comes with 2 batteries. I got it in black, and I believe the stroke was a 3.5mm stroke. I've only had this machine for about 2-3 weeks now, and I so far have been really enjoying it. I got recommended via another artist and she uses the same machine, and I can see why she recommended it to me because so far I really enjoy it. I currently have it wrapped in grip tape at the moment as well, just because I reuse it with doing my fake skin. So with your tattoo machine, one of the other most important things that you're going to need is needles. I currently use the Elite Evo cartridges needles in, I have some 5 round liners. I've only been using round liners for now just because that's where I am in my tattoo progression. I got recommended the Elite Evos as well, and so far they are amazing. They distribute the ink really well into the fake skin that I use. I know other artists that use them on real clients as well, and they say that they are the best cartridges that they've used. There are other cartridges out there that I would love to give a try, but for now these are the ones that I use and I find work best for me. Next on the list we have ink. I'm currently using the Dynamic Triple Black ink. Ink is something that's really important that you don't want to fudge out on. I used to use this really crappy eBay black ink that I found on some random website, and it was terrible. It would not go into the skin very well. It was really splotchy and just really thick and horrible. So I've been recommended by other artists the Dynamic ink. I've heard it's a really top brand when it comes to just good inks that last a long time. I know a lot of artists in my area that use this ink in their kit, so I definitely would recommend Dynamic Black ink. There are other brands I want to try as well, but this is the one that I currently use. Okay, so obviously if you are going to be tattooing on fake skin, you are going to need some fake skin. I wouldn't be able to name off the top of my head the brand that I currently use, unfortunately. However, the one that I can recommend the most that I've heard from a number of artists is Real Skin. I haven't had the opportunity to try Real Skin just yet, but I am definitely intending to be using it for my next slab of skin, and I will give you my full review. Obviously, if you're wanting to learn how to tattoo from home, best place to start is on fake skin. Do not start straight away on people. Another thing that I keep in mind when it comes to fake skin is you want to spend the money where it counts. I know there are plenty of fake skins out there on eBay and Amazon that don't cost very much. However, they tend to be very thick and very hard. You want something that is very stretchy and very soft to try and get that ink nice and distributed well in the skin, because with those thicker like mats that you can get off eBay and Amazon for quite cheap, they don't tattoo very well. So keep that in mind, that you may need to spend a bit of money when getting a decent piece of fake skin. Next item I have on my list is Vaseline. Vaseline is quite cheap and easy to get from your local shops. I just use a standard Coles brand. It doesn't need to be something fancy. Just one thing to keep in mind when using Vaseline on fake skin is that when you put your design down on the paper, make sure you leave it dry over an adequate amount of time. I've had many mistakes where I've put a stencil straight onto fake skin and then gone over it with Vaseline and it's rubbed straight off. So what I would usually recommend for stencils is leave them on your fake skin for up to 24 hours so that when you go over it with Vaseline, that the stencil doesn't just rub straight off. The reason I use Vaseline on my fake skins is it allows the needle to glide nice and easy over the skin, and I also find that it stops my ink from pulling as much. So Vaseline is something I highly recommend to be a part of your tattoo home kit. Speaking of stencils, this is something that's not necessarily required, but I personally have for myself, and I would recommend for those who are starting out. If you're not afraid to spend a bit of money, invest yourself in a thermal printer. I use a thermal printer for my stencils. You just buy this carbon paper, which is heat activated in the thermal printer, popping your design onto it so that you're able to transfer it to your fake skins. I find this much easier when tattooing because then the tattoo is nice and crisp already on the skin for you. When freehanding a tattoo with pen, it doesn't always come out exactly how I want it. So if I've got the design pre-prepped on, say, my iPad, then I can print it straight away, put it through the stencil printer, and then straight onto the fake skin, making it nice and easy for me to see where I'm going and tattoo the perfect design. Paired with stencils is something to transfer the stencil from the thermal paper onto the fake skin. I use stencil stuff. Now this might be a little bit of an extra spend as well that you don't necessarily need. I've seen a lot of artists recommend, especially from America, speed sticks. I don't personally have a speed stick. I have never been able to find one here in Australia, so I just spent a bit of money on this stencil stuff. It's not the cheapest, but if you use it sparingly like you're supposed to, it can last you a fair amount of time. I've had this for over a year now, and just because you're using that little bit at a time, it's only still 3/4 full. So it may cost you that bit extra, but it works really well with getting that transfer nice and clean. Now, one of the biggest things you are going to need in your home tattoo kit is paper towel. You are going to go through so much paper towel as a tattoo artist, it is ridiculous. It's very good for cleaning up ink and making sure you wipe your tattoos nice and clean throughout the whole process, because when you're tattooing, the ink can smudge quite a bit over your design, so making sure that you pat it down nice and easy to see where you're going and clean up as you go. It also helps cleaning your workspace and wiping down your machines. So paper towel is definitely something I would recommend to those who are wishing to start. Now, for all of your extra bits and bobs, two things that I have in my kit at the moment that I use the most are things like grip tape and ink caps. Grip tape I'm currently using to wrap my machines with, because using a tattoo machine from bare metal to skin can get quite uncomfortable for long periods of time, and you are going to do damage to your hands. Using grip tape will allow you to get that nice comfortable grip and lessen those vibrations in your hands, so you have that nice steady flow when tattooing on the skin. Now, another top thing that you will need in your kit are gloves. Now, when you're tattooing from home on fake skin, some people say that you don't necessarily need gloves. However, I prefer to use them because when you are tattooing for a couple of hours at a time, I find that my hands get covered in ink. So rather than having the ink just going all over your hands and it being impossible to wash off, I use gloves just to make the cleanup so much easier. It also helps if you're putting any Vaseline on your hands so that while you're tattooing your hands don't get all greasy, and then it's just a much easier cleanup at the end. Another thing I wanted to add to my list is simple stationery. At the moment in my tattoo drawer, I have things like pens, pencils, a ruler, some scissors. All of these things come in handy when it comes to your tattoo process. If you put on a stencil and it doesn't come out properly, you can go over it with a pen and just quickly fix it up, or using a ruler to make sure everything's aligned properly. All of these things can come in handy really easily, so just keeping those sorts of things on hand. They're not too expensive or hard to get, so just something that I would recommend to add to the list as well. One of the final things that I would recommend is probably the weirdest thing that I have in my tattoo kit, but something that I got recommended via a TikTok video that I have found to be an absolute godsend. So when you finish your tattoo on your fake skin, the ink can actually stain your skin, and it can be quite hard to see what you've tattooed. Some people say that using Vaseline or things like green soap can help clean up, and while yes, this is true, it doesn't always do the best job. The one thing that I got recommended for my kit is actually WD-40. While it's not the cheapest thing in the world, it works amazingly to get that ink off of your skin to remove those stains. Just be careful though, as I said before with the Vaseline though, when your stencils have just been put onto the skin, using WD-40 will wipe them off straight away. So make sure you leave that time for your stencil to dry. Just keep in mind with the WD-40, it can be quite toxic to the skin, so the gloves come in handy for that as well. But also make sure you're in a nice ventilated area because it can be quite smelly and can do a bit of damage to your lungs. Okay guys, I think that is everything for today's video. If I've missed anything, please let me know in the comments below. But please keep in mind, this is just for tattooing at home on fake skin only. I am not tattooing on people. This is for fake skin only. All of this recommendation is just for learning purposes, to teach myself how to tattoo, and eventually I might get up to that real skin process. But anyways, if you like this video, let me know in the comments below. If there's anything you want to see in the future from me in terms of tattooing, let me know as well. And I hope to see you all in next video. See you later.